first thing to do in using the Screencast-O-Matic is to download the Screencast-O-Matic program for Mac or for PC, whichever one that you are using. It is a clear download, not one that you have to worry about. Use the one that's on the Screencast-O-Matic page, though, not on the ad page. Download that and install it as you would with regular software, and then you'll be able to open that up when you've got your tutorial open. Then you want to open the Articulate Community Showcase and select the tutorial that you want to comment on. Now, of course, this would be after you have significantly reviewed the tutorial and made all kinds of notes as to where it shows the principles from Alessi and Trollope or Mayer's 12 principles of multimedia being used, or where they are violated, and make a comment on that, because your screencast is a maximum of 5 minutes long, and that's not a very long time. So you aren't going to be able to start from A and show all the way to Z. You're going to have to pick and choose those things that you think are important points to put into your screencast. Now you want to use not the pro ones, but just the free recorder, so you set the free recorder. Alright, so when you have your tutorial open then, selected from the showcase, then you open up the Screencast-O-Matic and you'll get something that looks like this. I've got this set so it's already the size on that, but you can grab a hold of this and move this square around or resize it, and it won't necessarily be just the size that you want. So you grab on it with the arrow, move that to where you want. I'm moving it to the upper left corner so it just fills the screen, and then I can drag it here. So it just fills the screen with the thing that I'm doing the tutorial on. So you're able to see my whole computer screen here, but what's within this dotted line here that's being recorded by the Screencast-O-Matic. So here's our interface for running the Screencast-O-Matic. We want to do just the screen. If we did webcam or both, we could put our picture in there, but we don't need that. You can see that it has a maximum time of 15 minutes in the free version. We've got a maximum time for this assignment, this tutorial evaluation, of only 5 minutes. Now, you can see that with the narration here, that the green bars, as it says, are giving a healthy amount of movement. You don't want a lot more of that so that you see that up into the red. You'd get distortion there. Nor do you want it real quiet here. You need to have a strong audio signal or it's going to be very hard for the person to get that, about like so. Not too much else that you've got to set. This is ready to go. We come down now here to where it says record. And we want to have an outline. We want to have the things that we're wanting to comment on. You've only got 5 minutes, so you can't say everything there is to say and go all the way through the tutorial. So you have to have some key points that you want to make. When you feel like you're ready, then you hit the record button here and it'll give you a nice countdown. Alright, then you see that in fact it is recording here. So I would be recording my evaluation, my tutorial evaluation now. And I might say, this tutorial is done by Hitachi Company to try and influence their employees in not only following the legal guidelines, but logical and good business practice guidelines for using social media. Now maybe that's all I want to say on that screen, so I can hit the pause button here, take my breath, make sure I got that right, and you can see that it's giving me the time recorded. This is 31 seconds. Don't worry about the 0.2. So that's 31 seconds there. And then I can say, let's see, I wanted to go then to the introduction part of this.
This is Bob. Bob is a big fan of social media.
Okay, so I know I want to record that, and I'm going to go back to the previous one.
Welcome to Social Media Guidelines at Hitachi Data Systems. The goal of this course is to demonstrate the appropriate use of social media.
So I know now I've got this set up that when I hit this button again, it's going to go from this screen, which I was already showing, and it's going to introduce Bob. And I'm ready to make a comment on that. Now, I want to be able to hear what the tutorial is saying sometimes, and other times I want to be able to talk over it. I don't want to talk at the same time. So I'm going to use the up and down on my computer here to just control that volume. Even though that gets in the way of seeing it, we're not making anything too fancy here. We're just trying to look over each other's shoulder. So I'm going to go back and hit the record button again. I get the countdown again, 3, 2, 1. All right, one of the interesting things about this is that they use this character Bob.
This is Bob. Bob is a big fan of social media. Bob loves FaceBuzz.
All right, now I'm going to pause it right there to make a comment rather than trying to talk over the voice that you're hearing on the tutorial. And my comment here is that this tutorial is trying to get people to follow the rules, and so it's a little bit bossy. And so I think that with this animated character of Bob, they're trying to kind of take the edge off of that, tell their employees what to do without seeming to be too bossy about it. And so they use this Bob throughout. All right, so maybe the next thing I want to set up is to say something about the quiz function. So I can actually pause down here, and you can see it's paused again, and so then I'll go over to the quiz, and I'm setting up the quiz
Bob
function
knows
here.
that his company is expected to exceed their sales quota this quarter by 50%.
Okay, so I pause it there. I know the comment that I want to make right here, so then I can go and I can start it again. This also tells me how many minutes I am into my my screencast, which is 1 minute and 27 seconds. Give me the nice 3, 2, 1. All right, now when we go to the quiz function of this Hitachi social media tutorial, they have some questions, and again they use this kind of font to try and make things kind of playful, even though they're being bossy. So let's hear how they say this. The questions are given largely in the audio.
Do you think this is something Bob should post?
So then you're expected to answer whether it's yes or no. And so we think it's probably no, but when we're doing an evaluation of a tutorial, a lot of times we want to see what's going to happen if you answer incorrectly.
Uh-oh. He definitely should not be publishing proprietary company information. Leave the financial reporting to the company authorized representatives.
All right, so you can see the kind of feedback that they get on the quiz, and we can continue the quiz.
Now, let's see how transparency is relevant in social media. Bob knows that one of the golden rules of participating in social media is...
All right, so if I want to comment some more, I'm going to pause it in order to comment. And what we want to avoid is this, where I'm talking and the tutorial's talking at the same time. Because you probably can't understand either one of us right now. So, I either have to turn it down or stop it. And so I say, okay, one of the things that I like here and that Alessi and Trollope I think would like is that they're, in this kind of quiz that they're doing, they're also doing some more, content presentation, which seems like a good idea.
Rules about transparency and being authentic apply to everyone.
Every time you go to a new screen, you will get the audio starting. They allow the learner to bounce around in whatever way they want, which Alessi and Trollope would say is good practice for adult learners. Although with compliance, you don't always have the mature adult learners you'd like it to have. So if you really want them to go through it all the way, it might be better practice not to have them be able to select out of these things if you want them to do it straight away.
Select which example can only be communicated by an HDS corporate approved spokesperson.
All right, so then we're supposed to read each one of these, and then
Ouch!
Whoops,
only HDS corporate approved spokespeople may encourage others to contact them about HDS.
Now the continue actually seemed to make us go to more content.
Select which example can.
So we could try a different one.
Ouch!
Oops.
Only.
I guess it's not that one.
HDS corporate approved spokespeople may encourage others to.
So let's see what the.
Way to go! Only HDS corporate approved spokespeople may encourage others to contact them about HDS.
All right, so then I'd make a comment here about the kind of feedback that's given on the questions and the way the questions are used. And I can see that my screencast time is wrapping up, so I'd pretty much be wanting to make final conclusions about that, which is to say this seems like a very competent tutorial. It's trying to be personal, but not necessarily working with the character, and it probably puts people off a little bit. But it's not too long, it doesn't waste too much of their time, and most people probably do it. All right, So now I have paused that. You can see it's 4 minutes 46 seconds, so I'm right near the 5-minute deadline. And if you go a little over, it's not like you won't, it won't record. But I want to show you now what we want to do next. When you're satisfied that you've got that, you may have to do this 2 or 3 times to kind of get what you want with it. Then you're going to want to do the done. When you hit done, it's going to give us this option of some things to do here. And although I've said that we want to ultimately get it up to YouTube, I would say not to use this selection. What I prefer to do is to save as an audio file. It saves it as an MP4 on your computer. Then you've got a record of your review. You can use it as a portfolio piece. And if something happens and one of these applications crashes, you've still got the video on your desktop. So I don't like to upload it right to YouTube from there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to publish it to there. It's publishing it in a MP4 format, which is a typical internet video format. It gives decent quality and keeps the size low enough. And so it's now making a video that it's going to put on the desktop, and then I'm going to upload that video to my YouTube channel. So I want to check and kind of make sure that it's done. I can play the video. What you're seeing now is actually my screencast here. See this? This is actually the screencast that we recorded. Countdown. All right, then you see that in fact it is recording here. So I would be recording my evaluation, my tutorial evaluation now. So let's hear how they say this. The questions are given largely in the audio.
Do you think this is something Bob should post?
So then you're expected to answer whether it's yes or no. And so we think it's probably no, but when we're doing... Okay, so what you just hear me doing here, right here, that's what actually was recorded in it. That's what your evaluation should sound like. The little yellow circle follows around your pointer, so you're using that as a way to keep the reader's attention to what you want it to be, the viewer's attention, and you record your screencast that way. We're determined that that's what we want to do, so I'm just going to close that. I'm going to say we're done here, and I'm going to close my Articulate Showcase tutorial. Now I'm just back to the Articulate Showcase, and I've got the tutorial on there. I'm not going to stop and take you through the whole thing of uploading the video to YouTube. I assume at this point that most people have kind of uploaded videos to YouTube before. So if not, then we'll go over that in class on Wednesday. So you upload the video to YouTube, you take the URL, and you put that in there. And we've got one really good example already on the on our D2L forum. So look at that and look at this example and take your shot at being able to record a screencast evaluation of the tutorial.